Okay, picture this. It's the year 2028, and every global superpower is locked in this frantic, top-secret race. But they're not looking for a new weapon or some miracle energy source. Nope, they're all hunting for something that vanished before anyone even knew it was there. A completely impossible substance called the Hieroptia. And you gotta understand, the stakes here are astronomical. This isn't about world dominance, it's about control over reality itself. The person who finds this thing gains the power to basically rewrite the source code of the universe. And the loser? Well, they might just get erased from existence altogether.
So what is this stuff really? Well, the sources describe it as a complete paradox, a glitch in the fabric of our world. It's not something you can just dig out of the ground. It's this stable structure of theoretical particles that just breaks all the rules of physics. By 2028, humanity had done some incredible things. We're talking quantum computers, bases on Mars, the whole shebang. But all of that was completely overshadowed by this one single obsession. People started looking back at old mysteries, like the disappearance of Satoshi Nakamoto, and wondering, were these just footprints, clues that the Hyperoptium was out there?
First off, you can't see it, period. And I don't mean it's transparent or just painted black. I mean, it is a literal void. It doesn't reflect light, it doesn't absorb light. Instead, it catches any photon that hits it and just converts its information into nothing. It literally erases light from existence.
And its effect on the area around it? Even stranger. Get within about 10 meters, and physics just goes on standby. Sound waves literally can't move, which means absolute total silence. Heat energy just freezes in place. It creates this perfect little bubble of stillness. And here's where it really messes with your head. The metal itself has zero mass. It weighs nothing. But its presence warps the fabric of reality so intensely that time just stops dead in its tracks around it. It has no weight, but it somehow carries the weight of all reality.
Now this is absolutely crucial. You can't just walk up and pick it up. Any direct physical contact means you are immediately and totally deleted from reality. Poof, gone. The only way to even interact with it is to achieve something called resonant sync, a state where a human mind and a machine are perfectly fused, vibrating on its exact impossible frequency.
For years, this whole search was purely theoretical, just whispers and crazy theories. But that all changed when the first real clue finally appeared. And not in some super secret lab or in deep space, but right in the middle of the Sahara Desert. And it turns out there was one scientist who was uniquely prepared to understand it. Meet Dr. Anya Sharma. While all the governments were looking for big, flashy anomalies, she was leading this small, independent group of brilliant misfits. Her specialty was this really fringe science called GSN particle theory, which, let's be honest, most mainstream physicists thought was complete madness. But it also made her the only person on Earth who might actually know what was going on.
So here's how it all went down. The first sign was global. In January 2028, every single quantum computer on the planet just froze, and they all displayed the same cryptic message: optimization pending. Then, a month later, it happened. A null zone just popped into existence in the Sahara, and for 72 hours, it emitted absolutely nothing. No heat, no radio waves, no magnetic field. Just a perfect flatlined void of information.
Now, for everybody else, this was just weird static. But for Anya, this was the smoking gun. An information zero state was the exact signature she had predicted in her theories. This was it. While the rest of the world saw nothing, she saw everything. She knew she had to get to the one place on Earth where absolutely nothing was happening.
But, getting there was just the beginning. The real test was actually confronting this thing and trying to survive an encounter that was literally designed to be unsurvivable.
So, Anya and her partner, Kabir, are being chased by this rival group, and they make a desperate choice. They run straight for the anomaly. And as they cross this invisible line in the sand, the world behind them, the sound of drones, the heat, all the chaos, it just switches off, instantly deleted. They are now inside the void. And what they experienced was immediate psychological horror. First, absolute silence. And I don't mean quiet, I mean the total absence of sound. Then their vision went, just a gray infinity that their brains couldn't process. And then their minds, completely starved of any sensory input, started to panic and began creating false, fictional memories just to fill the terrifying emptiness.
So deep inside, they don't find a chunk of metal. They find this floating geometric shape, a living math puzzle. They interact with it, and then suddenly they wake up. They're back in their lab in New Delhi, right before they left for the desert. The chase, the void, was it all just some insane dream? But then Anya sees it. A single line of code is just blinking on her main computer monitor, a line that wasn't there before. All the data from the Sahara is gone, but this one message is there. The proof wasn't just in their heads, it was right there on the screen.
And that is when she finally understands the horrifying truth. They didn't just find a piece of metal. They found a system that saw their unauthorized entry as an error, a bug in the code of reality. And its fix wasn't to destroy them. It was to simply restore a previous, stable version. It just hit undo. Just as Anya is trying to wrap her head around this insane revelation, an accidental breakthrough halfway across the world in a Tokyo lab provides the next critical piece of the puzzle.
So get this, a team in Tokyo, trying to create a gravity wave transmitter, accidentally creates this brand new material, Vitrios G. And it turns out this glass-like alloy is the perfect counterpart to the hyperoptium. If the hyperoptium is the lock, Vitrios G is the key. It doesn't get deleted when it gets close, it actually resonates with it, making the unseeable suddenly visible.
The Tokyo team is led by a Dr. Kenji, and when he detects the Sahara anomaly, he connects with Anya. They form this collaboration called Project Synapse, and together they sync her tracking tech with his resonance metal. For the very first time, they can safely map the atomic structure of the void from thousands of miles away.
And what they discover is staggering. The hyperoptium isn't a weapon at all. It's a universal optimizer, a tool basically designed to stop the universe from eventually falling apart. But of course, there's a catch. To actually use it, the human mind has to evolve. You have to shift your thinking from our normal 3D logic to this infinite dimensional Jessionian logic that the metal runs on.
Right in the middle of all this, with rival agencies closing in on his lab, Kenji notices this strange message pop up on his phone. It wasn't sent over any network. It was a dormant file that had been sitting on his device, somehow awakened by the resonance of the Vitrios G.
And the message is a complete game changer. It basically says they've been asking the wrong question this whole time. They've been looking for a static object, a thing to find and possess. But the hyperoptium isn't an object. It's a mirror, a tool that reflects the consciousness of whoever is using it and then optimizes reality to match their thoughts.
And that, right there, brings us to the final, chilling question. The prize isn't finding some magic metal. It's becoming the architect of your own reality. So let me ask you, if you had that power, a tool that could literally reshape the universe based on what you wanted it to be, what would you choose to optimize? What kind of world would you create?